Hi, my name's Dave Allen, and I'm the Director of Insights and Digital Media for North, a local agency here in Portland. I'm pretty well known as the bass player and founding member of a post-punk band called Gang of Four. Spent my years recently just worrying about the web and having an awful lot of fun with it. And I'm here today at the Digital Marketing Conference at Portland State University to give a presentation. But I think when it comes to any project, if you think about it with a brand client, you've got to have an overarching strategy from top to bottom. There's no doubt about it. And if you want to just separately consider digital, then I would argue that has to be because it's a completely separate digital initiative that's required. And it may be, oh, we're going to develop an iPhone app or an iPad app, right? But at the same time, it still has to family up to the business goals of what the client is trying to achieve. So I try and come at this with at least 4 weeks of planning ahead of time, where we can say all the stakeholders, try and get all the stakeholders in the room and say, what is it about this iPad app that you're seeing? So here's an example. I thought recently the Richard Branson and the new Virgin magazine on the iPad, it was just absolutely slayed by the critics. And Richard forgot, being an amazing PR guy, he forgot that on the web now everyone's a critic. So he walked into the minefield, but he walked into a minefield because it's what I call toys for billionaires. It's like just because he has the money to get a team together to develop this new magazine, but somehow the team didn't seem to understand the platform that the iPad operates upon or is, then the result was a disaster. I mean, it came with an opening page of the magazine that told you how to use the app. So in digital and in technology at all, if I get something, some software, an app, whatever, anything that is requires me to relearn how I would normally use a device, I'm going to say it's a total failure. So if you're seeing something in the work that I've been doing in the past, perhaps it's because I'm spending time really worrying about the overall strategy for the brand, and then why any part of that, once it touches anywhere, if it's print, TV, it might be a film, it could be digital. We've got to ask these questions of just why. Why is this going to further the brand, and does it family up to the business goal? Just because something's there doesn't mean you ought to use it. And again, it's just part of planning, overall planning. It's like if we take Deschutes Brewery, one of North's clients, and a great client to work with. It's like if they come up with a new brew and they want to publicize that, then there's many ways of publicizing a new fine beer from Deschutes Brewery. And it doesn't mean, oh, I'm the digital guy, I should step in the room and say, well, there's an app for that. It has to be like, show me the creative around this. Like, go to our chief creative director there, Mark Ray, and see what he's come up with for the concept for the packaging. Like, is this going to be in supermarkets in the cool 6-pack, like the new Red Chair Pale Ale that they just come out with again? It's a seasonal. It's like I can then look at that and say, well, this is how we might want to approach this on the web, on their homepage, for instance. I'm very curious, and I get fascinated by a lot of things, and it's interesting to me that we're not seeing, at least on the consumer level, if you look at trends, there's so much going on out there, right, that gains attention. Like once Angry Birds, right, landed on the New York Times homepage. Homepage. See how much I read online. I actually have get the New York Times delivered to my house. So yesterday, I was reading the paper. So on the front page, there's a story on Angry Birds, and that's something that's erupted and has become. It's gone from meme to success to no doubt huge success, and now that company behind that are going to have to come up with the next thing. But I'm always wondering, because I never know what makes the next thing. I've got no idea. And I think it comes back to, again, what I want to talk about today in my presentation is should there be a next thing, or are we're missing the point? Like, should we be looking at new markets? That's really the sort of overarching point of my presentation. Is like, digital especially created or convulsed industries and convulsed disciplines so much that we don't need to, I keep saying this, you don't need to learn digital, you need to see a new market. So I don't know what's next, and I don't really know what's really making me jump up and down about the future. But the opposite side of that, what I don't like, is what's going on currently within our industry anyway. There's this fight about the digital shop versus the traditional shop and the future of advertising. And I have to say, I just find it all BS, because it's like, what we're talking about here is a discipline that requires a narrative, requires a story, and it needs to, that narrative and story needs to be told extremely well to as many people as possible. So we're all creatives, we all have access to all the same tools. I just don't think there's a struggle there. In fact, it may be more of a struggle to come up with the new shiny bright object that we all want to have on our iPhone or iPad, or, you know, pass around the web through the social web to our friends.